Last time, Toribot was able to save the World Tournament announcer from Tambourine, but Tambourine used his psychic link to King Piccolo to request help. While everyone evacuated the Tenkaichi Budokai staff, Toribot was led outside by Tambourine, Cymbal, and a weaker version of Drum. He was then assaulted and about to be killed, but Toribot summoned all the power within one of his batteries, causing it to explode. It killed the 3 demons and totally wrecked his body, but he lived and drew himself a new one. After investigating, and after Toribot finishes his new body, the Dragon Team warriors are prepared to head off to collect the Dragon Balls. Back to the story, the Dragon Team is ready to leave in Yamcha's ship. Bulma, Launch, Puar, and Oolong are currently at the capsule houses in the middle of nowhere to hide the Budokai staff from the demon Namekians. Oolong and Puar are playing cards or something together, which isn't relevant, but Puar and Oolong are cool. Goku has the Dragon Radar with him, and he's sitting up front next to Yamcha, who's piloting. Roshi is forced to sit between Toribot and Krillin in the back. Around this time of day in canon, Tambourine had already fought Goku after taking the Dragon Radar and 4-star ball. However, in this timeline, Tambourine is already dead, and though he may not be alive, at the very least the Demon King knows who has one of the balls. Something else King Piccolo knows is that his sons had gotten into a fight with one of the martial artists on the island of the Tenkaichi Budokai, and coincidentally a few minutes later, their links to Piccolo had been severed. It means only one thing, and the Demon King is very much displeased by this. It seems the martial artists of the modern day have become a lot more powerful than they were during his time as Earth's ruler. No matter, so long as none of them know how to do the Baba Booey. That was intentional. So long as none of them know how to do the Mafu Ba, he should be fine once he regains his youth. And as far as King Piccolo knows, Toribot is not part of the martial artists anymore. For all he knows, Toribot is dead from the explosion. And granted, those martial artists seem to be relatively on par with him, if not a little bit weaker, so that's still a little bit alarming. Yes, they have upgraded Pilaf machines, and yes, they have Piano, but that's not nearly enough to turn the tides, is it? I mean, what's Piano gonna do? No, if King Piccolo wanted to win the war, he would need an army. Perhaps they wouldn't need to be as strong as his former sons, but they would need to overwhelm their enemies with numbers. With this revelation, King Piccolo starts retching violently, really disgusting the Pilaf gang. But to that I say, can't a man give birth in peace? It takes a few minutes, but in the end, he has 4 more demon Namekian children to carry out his will. Now, with the birthing process taking a toll on King Piccolo's body, you may be wondering how he hasn't just keeled over dead. Well, he does directly say that he can use his powers of birth several more times with no risk to his life. And while he does use it 4 more times in this scenario, these children aren't exactly the best children ever. They're kind of mutated, but we'll explain that later. Regardless, using the mounted Dragon Radar of the Pilaf gang, the ship blasts off to the direction of the Dragon Team. While our protagonists are looking for the Dragon Balls, they also need to make a quick stop. They're going to want to pick up some extra help. This is at the suggestion of Goku. He points out that his friend Bora is a little bit below their level, but if things are as bad as Master Roshi said, they'll need all hands on deck. Roshi agrees with Goku, as does Toribot. Meanwhile, everyone else simply has no objections. Well, extra help never hurts, does it? They make a quick stop to Korin's sacred grounds and talk to Bora. Upon their arrival, Bora goes to greet them, followed by Appa. During this time, Goku spent at Korin's sacred grounds between the battles against Baba and the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai. He trained with Bora and even trained Appa as well. Bora now has a good grasp on ki control, while Appa is just beginning to get the hang of it. I've already said this, but Bora's power level is 150 now. As for Appa, he's at 65. Bora took over in training him once Goku left. Something interesting to note about Bora is that, while he has ki control, he doesn't exactly use it in the conventional way most other Dragon Ball characters do. He suits it more towards his own purposes. And one thing he can do is summon ki through his spear, but another, more interesting thing that he's gained the ability to do is, well, let me say this. The aura of the Uzaru that Goku keeps summoning to use for his Uzaru Fist was not necessarily something Goku developed alone. He developed it with the help of Bora, though that's not how it happened in canon, but that's how it's happening here, and considering the fact he's already used the Uzaru Fist a couple of times. His tail also did help in that factor, though. Bora also has his own sort of avatar. I took a spirit animal quiz and answered as closely as I could to what Bora would answer with what we see of him, and what came out was a bear. The bear inspires people to take action and remain strong in times of adversity, as well as being a symbol that someone is in touch with the natural world around them. But the avatar that appears isn't really a conscious thing so much as it is a reflection of your soul. For Goku, it's Uzaru simply because he has that monk in him. That monkey, that is. And for Bora, it's the bear, for those previously stated reasons. Neither Goku nor Bora can fully summon these avatars either, it's just a fleeting thing for now. What they have is essentially a weaker and less complete form of the key avatars that Goku uses against Moro, and I truly don't think it's that advanced of an ability either, so much as it is there wasn't any use for it beforehand, nor would anyone have thought to do it up until the point in canon that they did. Anyway, while Bora will be joining the party, Upa won't be. He'll stay behind to keep watch over Korin's tower. While they did say all hands on deck would be helpful, maybe not Upa if he's that far behind. Plus, someone needs to keep watch, right? This doesn't bother Upa at all, since it's probably the right decision anyway. Yamcha pulls out another capsule containing another ship, and the two groups split up. Yamcha's gonna drive the main ship, which contains himself, Goku, and Toribot. Meanwhile, Roshi's going to follow behind in the other one to drive himself, Krillin, and Bora. Goku aids Yamcha's piloting by telling him which direction the Dragon Balls are in, and actually one of them isn't that far away. A few miles, but still, that's nothing. After just a couple minutes of flying, Goku points out that the Dragon Ball is within a mile of them. Yamcha says that this is a good time to stop the ships. Thus, they start their descent. Roshi and his ship follow suit. Not too far away, a rotund samurai watches on. Ugh. Why do other people always have to encroach on his territory? During dinner time, no less. Is it so much to ask just to be left alone? He was about to start descaling his fish, too. This sucks. Now he's gonna have to get out of there and make his fire somewhere else. Lost in thought at the advent before him, Yajirobe fails to notice them touching down. And before he can get out with his fish, someone's already run up to him and started eating it? Yamcha reprimands Goku, telling him to unjaw that man's fish right now. Goku whines like a dog. Yamcha threatens to go get Puar, ask them to turn into a newspaper, and hit Goku over the head with them, and Goku finally disengages from the fish. Yamcha apologizes to Yajirobe for ruining his dinner, but they just meant to inquire about the thing on his necklace, that Dragon Ball. They explain the legend to him, but Yajirobe doesn't buy it. He says that there's no way they're getting his necklace. It has sentimental value. He found this inside that dinosaur he hunted. He's never going to give it up. Oh, hi, Bora. What? Well, in the background, Roshi, Krillin, and Bora had just descended as well. And seeing as Yajirobe doesn't live too far away from Korin's sacred grounds, at one point he wandered off to hunt down some miscellaneous tiny creature and met Bora. This isn't canon, but it's not implausible either, and it adds an explanation for why Yajirobe is so strong in canon. Yeah, they know each other. Bora backs up what Yamcha's been saying, causing Yajirobe to look at him with more validity. Well, alright, okay, but that just gives him even more reason to keep it. Roshi tells him that if they don't keep it safe, King Piccolo might come for him and kill him to get it. Yajirobe laughs at that. Yeah, sure, as if a fairy tale like that was going to convince him. He reiterates that the only way they'll take that Dragon Ball from him is if they take it by force. Well, with so many strong people here, that's a bad choice of words. Goku himself is actually the one to step up. He gets into a fighting position and Yajirobe does the same. Then they run towards each other and get into a scuffle. We're gonna say Yajirobe's just a little bit tinier here at a power level of 185 just because Bora's stronger too. Meanwhile, Goku, after all those battles, is now at a power level of 225. On top of knowing actual martial arts, he's stronger too, though Yajirobe has a sword. Goku and Yajirobe briefly fight each other with their weapons, but Goku is easily able to knock the sword out of his hand. Thus, he puts the power pole away, and they fight hand-to-hand next. While Yajirobe's losing, Goku can definitely tell he's strong. Things end with one decisive blow. Goku tackles Yajirobe to the ground, knocking him onto his back. While Yajirobe's down, he quickly takes the necklace off of him, even though Yajirobe tries to get it back. He gets back up, angry with Goku, but Goku points out that he still beat him. Yajirobe acknowledges this fact with a bit of sorrow. Man, beaten by a kid? Crazy. Bora does offer for Yajirobe to come along, though. At first he refuses. Yamcha talks him into it more by pointing out Toribot's ability to create things with his pencil. Toribot quickly draws up a big plush bear as well as a box of chocolates. Well, okay, if this dude can just create food and gifts by drawing them, he's definitely coming along. So, okay, they have 2 ships. Yajirobe will simply go in the one with Toribot. So, okay, he'll be in the main ship. And so will his bear and chocolates. Just before they can get into the ships, though, Goku's nose perks up. That smell. It's a smelly smell. A smelly smell that smells smelly. Yeah, and it's familiar, too. It smells like dog. Well, isn't that strange? Sure enough, the source of the familiar smell, as well as 6 other people, float down. 3 of these people are the Pilaf gang in their mechs, and the other 4 are demons! Yeah, thank you, Roshi. That wasn't annoying in part 4 either. But seriously, folks. One demon is clad in red and has wings. Another, in yellow, sits atop Pilaf's machine head. He looks somewhat effeminate, though he also has white facial hair. Then there's one in purple, and from the clothing they're wearing, it seems like they're a girl, but the final demon is the scariest of them all. Wearing pink, having 4 eyes, no mouth, and weird red feathered wings. Also, his Namekian spots are yellow for some reason. In general, his appearance is more warped. It's clear to see King Piccolo must have severely overestimated his birthing abilities. That's why everyone other than the one in red is so messed up. Because, it's weird that one of them has facial hair. It's weird that one of them's a girl. It's weird that one of them has 2 eyes replacing his mouth. That's just weird. That's not normal. Normal people don't have that. Even though their appearances in the story are brief, I am giving them names. The most normal of them is named Flute. That's Floot. The bearded one is Laylee, the girl is Yuka, and the Eldritch Abomination is Obo. They also go in that order in terms of strength. Flute's power level is 180, Laylee's is 190, Yuka's is 200, and Obo's is 220. So he's even with King Piccolo. Maybe the Demon King put in a little too much effort into him. Yamcha cracks his knuckles. Well, there's 7 of them, and they have 7 adversaries. This should be fun, right? Roshi admonishes him, telling him that the Demon Clan are no joke, and he needs to take this more seriously. The 7 interlopers approach the 7 members of their dragon team. Pilaf shouts through a megaphone held by his mech's hands that they're all here for the Dragon Balls, and if they stand down now and hand them over, their deaths will only be a little painful. Bora immediately rushes in against Pilaf. This is what kicks off the battle. Bora faces Pilaf, Yajirobe faces Mai, Krillin faces Shu, Yamcha faces Flute, Goku faces Laylee, Roshi faces Yuka, and Toribot faces Obo. Okay, actually no, we're swapping Toribot and Roshi's opponents because I don't trust Roshi. But this is a good opportunity for Bora to show off his ability to everyone else. He summons the aura of the bear next to him and tackles Pilaf's machine. This is what Bora calls the Bear Bash. Upon impact, the whole front of the machine is just caved in. Pilaf, with incredibly widened eyes, puts his hands up against the glass and begs for mercy from Bora. Bora looks down upon him. Well, on one hand, he's serving the demon army. Roshi explained to Bora just how bad this was on the ship. On the other hand, he's so small and he's so pathetic. He's clearly of no threat. Bora gently taps the glass with his knuckle, shattering it, but the force wasn't enough to get any of it on Pilaf, or in his skin, or anything like that. He retrieves Pilaf from his machine and looks up to the Demon King ship above. Closing one eye, he aims very carefully, and tosses Pilaf straight back up into the hovercraft. Well, that's one of them out of the way. Whose turn is it now? Yajirobe does battle with Mai's craft. I would have had him fight Shu, but I'd be a little afraid he'd just eat him. Hell, he might even eat Mai too. He's eaten Demon Namekian before, so it's probably not past him. But while he's stronger than her mech, his sword can't do much to it. It's simply too durable to be affected by his slashes. If Yajirobe had ki control, the whole sword thing wouldn't be that bad. But he doesn't have ki control, so he has to resort to regular hand-to-hand combat. This is a lot more effective. With relative ease, Yajirobe defeats Mai in this mech, but once it comes tumbling to the ground, that's not the end of his assault. No, he's gonna do something just like Bora. He does a standing senton bomb onto the craft, breaking the glass. Then he pulls Mai out, though she's totally shielding her face, like any normal person would do if glass was broken around them, and then he lifts her above his head. He does a tiny jump off the mech onto the grass, and he gets his hand around her ankles. Okay, this sounds weird, but look at the GIF on screen. See? Look. Normal. No Cosby, no Diddy, no Roshi. This is what Yajirobe does to Mai. He's spinning her around like that, in circles. He does this 50 entire times, nauseating the poor agent, and then tosses her back into the ship, just like Bora had done to Pilaf. Krillin and Shu have a very short exchange of blows, and then Krillin just blasts him with a Kamehameha wave, which causes it to start blowing up. Shu quickly ejects from the seat. Krillin's usage of ki means he doesn't need to fool around nearly as much as Yajirobe here. Yamcha battles Flute. No matter what way you put it, Flute is at a disadvantage. He's weaker than Yamcha and doesn't know any martial arts either. He does put up a fight against Yamcha for a bit. They'd exchange blows with each other, yet Yamcha always comes out with the longer straw. One thing Flute does try to use to his advantage is lightning. Presumably, King Piccolo can do either, but Tambourine, Cymbal, and Drum use lightning, so why not anyone else? Flute is basically a poor man's Tambourine, though he's at the same strength. So Flute laces his punches with a loose veneer of lightning. That makes the punches he does land more damaging to Yamcha, but at the same time, Yamcha's just a better fighter. The battle ends with Yamcha hitting a Wolfang Fist to Flute, literally blowing the top half of his head off. Like, everything above the jaw, gone. That wasn't intentional, but it's not that bad either, since Yamcha would have had to kill him eventually. Goku battles Laylee. Unfortunately for him, he's not strong enough to match Goku, but he does try to use his size to his advantage. After all, he's a lot taller than Goku, so what if he caught him and got him in a bear hug? Yeah, what if Goku was put into a bear hug? Isn't that an interesting scenario? That sounds like a good story. Regardless, that's Laylee's plan for battle. He just needs to pick Goku up and then bear hug him until his back gets broken. Though this plan never comes to fruition as Goku is too fast, and he also has his power pole with him to keep Laylee at bay. Anytime he gets too close, he could either whack him with it or extend it to get out of his reach. Goku's evasion doesn't last forever though, but that doesn't mean Laylee's plan gets fulfilled either. He's able to grab a hold of Goku by the tail, lifting him and slamming him to the ground. This is the first bit of damage dealt to Goku so far, meaning he's still in near-perfect condition. Goku pushes himself up by the arms, hard enough to bonk against Laylee's head with the back of his own. Laylee lets go of his tail. Goku, back on 2 feet, turns around and delivers a rock, paper, scissors combo to Laylee. He hits him with a punch, puts his palm on his face, and jabs him in the eyes. Laylee runs around screaming in agony and gives Goku the perfect opportunity. Goku pulls back his hands, pulling energy into them. Goku fires, eviscerating Laylee. Damn. Toribot faces off with Yuka. She's one of the ki-wielding Demon Namekians, though you wouldn't know it from appearances. She and Laylee were twins. Were, because Laylee's dead. You could probably already tell from their names, though. Like the other Demon Namekians, Yuka doesn't really know any martial arts. Meanwhile, Toribot is at a blue belt level. Not peak martial artist, but a blue belt is still good. And it's actually coincidental from the fact his render, wearing Goku's outfit, has a blue belt. But 3 years of karate gets you a blue belt. Yuka's stronger than Laylee, however she lacks the combat knowledge to truly contest with Toribot. Something that gives her a slight edge on him, though, is her usage of ki. Toribot doesn't have ki. How's he gonna... Oh, wait. Pencil. Seeing as it survived the explosion last time, which was even more powerful than Yuka's ki, this makes him realize it's actually a lot more durable than it seems, and he'd use it like a baseball bat. Occasionally, he'd be lucky enough to swat one of Yuka's ki balls right back at her, but it's far more useful just for straight up attacking her with it. As for why he's not using the Tori Tornado, he could do that, but then he'd just get in the way of everyone else. Let me point out, all these battles are happening concurrently. Plus, although he doesn't know it, that wouldn't do as much as he thinks. Demon Namekians can regenerate. They keep fighting, basically on even grounds, just due to Yuka's ki, but during the battle, in between barrages of blasts, he's been drawing up a shield, and it's nearing completion. But, no, what's she doing? Yuka sticks one palm out at Toribot, with a golden glow surrounding it. It looks like she's charging something, but Yuka shoots a Mako-san out at him. But the shield's not complete. Well, what other option does he have? If he dodges, it'll destroy the landscape, and it might hit somebody else too. But then, if he uses the shield, what if it gets damaged? No, it's a risk he's got to take, even with an incomplete barrier. Toribot slowly walks through the beam, holding the shield up in front of him, but it's melting. Soon enough, a hole develops, and the ki starts to go through and damage him too. But he's so close. He's just a few feet away from her. And as he gets closer and closer, the damage to the shield and himself gets worse, but he keeps going. With his gi on fire, he's finally reached Yuka, using the top of the remnants of the shield to knock her hand upward. The shield is totally jagged now from the way it's melted, but it doesn't matter anymore. In such close quarters, he can finish the job now. Spinning around, he cuts straight through Yuka, bisecting her from the midsection up. Both halves of her fall to the ground. But then there's some sort of weird stuff coming from her midsection. Oh, and then what's missing from her just magically comes back. What? Yeah, this is how Toribot finds out the Demon Namekians can regenerate. But he's not going to give her the opportunity to get back into the fight. As uncomfortable as it makes him, he brings the shield down on Yuka's head. You can imagine the rest for yourself, but Yuka is no more. Toribot also turns around to those still fighting, pointing out to everyone that the demons can regenerate. Now we get to the final battle, Roshi versus Obo. Roshi has the advantage in battle prowess and techniques, while Obo has the advantage in height, durability, and unpredictability. Perhaps you could glean some information from your opponent by reading their facial expressions, but for Obo, well, look at him. 4 eyes, no mouth. Roshi and Obo are even in terms of power. Obo is simply more durable because he's in better condition than Roshi. He's youthful, kind of, while Roshi's old. If you're 6'7" in your 20s, fighting someone who's 5'5" in his 70s, but you're both at the same strength, you're probably going to have the advantage. That isn't a picture-perfect parallel to the situation, of course, but it's not that far off either. Roshi and Obo start their battle with an exchange of blows. Roshi is able to deflect some of Obo's attacks, but the ones that land really do sting. Likewise, Roshi is able to land a few blows on Obo as well, though he has no reaction to them. He just shrugs them off as if he was never attacked at all. Okay, this guy must have a really high pain tolerance or something. Roshi disengages for a second to think of a strategy. His normal attacks don't seem to be effective here, but how about some more unconventional techniques? Roshi starts to move his hands around in a rapid manner, with his eyes glowing from behind his sunglasses as well. All 4 of Obo's eyes start to narrow a bit. He's starting to feel tired. He lifts one of his arms up. Roshi thinks nothing of it, assuming he's trying to attack, but too tired to follow through. Wrong. Obo is actually using his hand to conduct lightning, and a bolt shoots from the sky, hitting him on the palm to snap him out of the hypnosis. The sleepy boy technique has been disrupted. Kind of like how Gnos was able to prevent himself from falling asleep in Super as well. Also, Obo's one of the lightning-using Demon Namekians, which is good to know. Obo punches Roshi into the distance using his still lightning-covered fist. Roshi gets back up, dusting himself off. Clearly the power he has now isn't enough. But what about this? He takes his coat off and bulks up, entering his buff form. But so soon after the tournament, is this really such a good idea? He jumps back into the battle, toppling Obo with a shoulder tackle. Obo directs all 4 of his eyes to Roshi's shoulder. Through each eye, a bolt of lightning shoots, slightly burning him. Roshi hops back again. If that's how it'll be, maybe he'll have to try fighting lightning with thunder. He sticks out both of his hands, with thunder hitting Obo dead on. A wave of thunder surrounds his body, and he begins to levitate into the air. This is the Thunder Shock Surprise, a technique that Jackie Chun used on Goku in the 21st tournament. Yeah, Jackie's just his student. Definitely. They're not the same person, that'd be crazy. And the technique is doing exactly what it's intended to do. Obo's eyes are narrowed once more, and his brow line is furrowed. It seems like he might actually be in pain from this. He tries his best to get out of it, but he can only move a few centimeters at a time. Painfully and arduously, Obo finally lifts his hand, after about a full-on minute of this. A bolt of lightning shoots down at Roshi. He swiftly dodges the attack, though he ceases to perform the Thunder Shock Surprise in the process. Obo falls to his knees. Somewhere deep inside of him, a voice tells him to continue fighting on. He is the last hope of the Demon Clan. This voice is King Piccolo. Obo observes the battlefield around him. Indeed, all of his siblings other than Yuka have failed. The Pilaf gang as well. Oh, and there goes Yuka too. Now that little robot thing is yelling about their regenerative powers as well. That was supposed to be a secret. Obo shoots a few bolts of lightning at Toribot. He dodges them with relative ease, cartwheeling away. Meanwhile, Roshi comes back in, hitting Obo with a knee to the face to knock him onto his back. Obo hops back onto his feet, trying to bowl Roshi over by landing on him, but Roshi wraps his arms around him and suplexes him to the ground. Now Obo's starting to get annoyed. Burned as he may be, he will not let himself be defeated by this elderly fool. Obo concentrates on Roshi's chest, aiming both his hands as well as his eyes at it. All at once, 6 bolts of lightning converge into one, zapping through Roshi. While this wasn't fatal, as all the extra muscle was protecting him, it's enough damage to take him out of his buff form as well as severely injure him. Again, not fatal, but without treatment, it very well could be. Toribot, upon seeing Roshi deflate and fall over, rushes over as fast as he can. With the extra speed from his current power level, he's easily able to do so. Obo would attempt to strike him, to no effect. Toribot is simply too fast. First, he gets Roshi back to everyone else outside the ships, telling them to watch over him for a second. Because Yamcha kept a first aid kit in his ship, they administer it to Roshi as Toribot zips back in to face Obo. Obo looks down upon him. He doesn't view Toribot as a challenge, so much as he views him as an annoyance. If the esteemed Master Roshi couldn't defeat him, how could this toy? With everyone out of the way, there aren't any qualms about it anymore. It's now safe for him to use it. The special technique, the Tori Tornado. But now, with the jagged shield by his side, he could use a new variation of it. Toribot dashes around Obo, and while the demon Namekian attempts to attack him with kicks, punches, and lightning, Toribot is too fast. A gust of wind picks up behind him while he runs. And then, suddenly, Obo gets slashed in the ankle with the shield. And when he looks down to check on its condition, he gets hit again, this time on the back of his wings. While Toribot runs around him, this keeps happening. More and more cuts appear upon Obo. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 99, 100, 150, 200, 250, 290, 360, 420, 666, 800, 942, 950, 990, 999, 1000. This is Tori Tornado, death by 1,000 cuts. Toribot stops the barrage after the 1,000th cut, now standing behind Obo. He waits for a moment, and once he drops the shield, the full impact of the attack becomes known to the world. Obo's body is carried up into the sky by the gust of wind, and just like that, he explodes. Carnage, blood, guts, and viscera shower the grass. Obo is no more. For just a moment, Toribot raises his power a little more, running over to Roshi and the others. Roshi's somewhat patched up, but in a bad condition. Toribot unsheathes his pencil, creating a healing potion to be used by Roshi. He takes the cork out and drinks it. You know what? That's not too shabby. Especially considering the fact he's completely undamaged now. Yes, sir, Roshi feels like $1,000,000 right now. Why, he could just get up and start singing and doing a little jig. In fact, he thinks he's going to do that right now. I'll spare you all from having to see or hear that. Once Roshi's done with his little number, the group just completely disregard it. They, including Roshi himself, agree to never mention it ever again. They all have a big handshake on it, too. The two groups split off again and get back into their ships. King Piccolo's ship had already flown away while Toribot was healing Roshi. So now in the main ship is Yamcha, Goku, Toribot, and now Yajirobe, as well as his little stuffed bear and chocolates. Well, it's not a little stuffed bear, it's a big stuffed bear, but you get what I mean. In the secondary ship is the same group of Roshi, Krillin, and Bora. Now they'll be on their way to getting the other Dragon Balls. And this is where I leave you off for now. You might be wondering how King Piccolo and the Pilaf gang are even going to get on par with the Dragon Team in the coming parts, but you'll find out at least a little bit of that in Part 5.5. That's right, Part 5.5. It's canon to this series, but it's not important enough to be a straight-up Part 6. It'll focus entirely on King Piccolo and the Pilaf gang, while the Dragon Team gather the rest of the Dragon Balls off-screen. But anyway, I hope you all take care. Don't get eaten by cannibals in the middle of the night. Don't get eaten. Okay, bye.